There's an idea that I've spoken of before, put forward by two experimental scientists, called what they refer to as epistemic actions, as distinct from pragmatic actions. Epistemic actions, they say, are concrete actions that we do, physical things that we do, which allow us to offload some of the cognitive work that we carry on out into the world. So, for example, one of the examples that they use is that chess players, particularly novice chess players, before they make a move, they will typically pick up the piece they're thinking about moving and try it out in a number of places first. And this physical action of trying it out has no pragmatic purpose. There's nothing is achieved by that, other than it seems to aid the chess player's ability to imagine what the consequences of that move will be. It serves a cognitive function, not an actual pragmatic function. So it's epistemic. It helps the thought process by offloading some of that workload away from the brain out into the world. I think either these particular researchers, Maglio and someone else whose name escapes me at the moment, I think one of the other the ways in which that idea has been extended is to formal notation systems and formal processes of evacuating those processes or offloading or outsourcing those processes. Things like note-taking or the use of apparatus like an abacus or a calculator. These things take off the pressure. Even something as simple as offloading some of the memory resources. So if someone tells us what their phone number is, we could commit it to memory. But if we're not so sure we're able to do that, we make a note of it. And that making a note of it is using an external memory source, an external memory store that we can at some point re-access. And it's just got me thinking, to what extent could we speculate about how far that could go? How far could we outsource cognitive facilities and processes to the world outside of the brain? And to what extent is it already out there, I suppose? It seems to me the first and most obvious cognitive function that could be outsourced is the one I've already mentioned, which is memory. We already do it already. We routinely carry around address books or PDAs, something like that, with lots and lots of information in. But it's readily accessible by physical means that we couldn't carry around inside our heads quite so easily, if at all. So we already do that. And of course our libraries are full of cultural memories that we all have access to. One of the things we tell our children and we tell our students is that in many cases it's not as important to know something as it is to know how to find something out, which usually means knowing where to access that particular resource. And of course with the development of the internet, that's incredibly easy and problematic at the same time. Easy because it's as quickly as typing something into Google, and it's as problematic as the Wikipedia results that often come up as a result of that search. So certainly we could possibly continue that process. It may be possible, for example, to offload pretty much all of our memories. Should we wish to? I don't know why we'd want to do that, but we could. There seems no logical reason why we couldn't just find a way to offload all of our memories to the outside world. Our memory of faces, our memory of who our friends are, our memory of our own name, our memory of our own histories, our memory of the things that we said a moment ago, my memory of the word that was the beginning of this sentence speaking now. All of that, I guess, in theory, could be outsourced to some kind of external memory store, providing, of course, I have the means to access that with the same degree of readiness that I'm accessing the memory store inside my head somehow. I assume that's possible. So what else is possible to offload? Well, in that aphorism about it being more important to know how to find something out than to actually know it itself, I mean that suggests a set of heuristics or a set of algorithms, a set of methods for finding something out, as well as the simple accessing of static memories. So I'm wondering to what extent we can offload those things. Again, we do it already. If we're doing mathematics, or we're doing physics, or we're doing any sort of procedure which requires a manipulation of symbols, formal logic for example, then we routinely do those processes outside of the body. We do them on paper, or we do them on calculators and computers. So I guess at least some of those processes, those analytical processes, could be carried out external to the brain, out there in the world, should we wish to, provided we have the initial access to those processes. I think that's going to be the sticking point. I don't know how you would offload that access, but let's worry about that later. So again, we could in theory have no processes inside our head, no algorithmic processes for carrying out formal logic or carrying out the sort of tasks that I'm carrying out right now as I look around. I'm looking at a tree in front of me here, and presumably one of the things that's happening is that there's lots of processing going on to do with vertical lines and horizontal lines and colours and depth perception and recognition of certain sorts of biological forms. Presumably all that could, in theory, not in practice obviously, be outsourced to some sort of symbol manipulation or algorithmic or heuristic process outside of my brain completely. And all I would need to do is find a way to access that